every night. Millions of people go to sleep telling themselves the same comfortable lie, I worked hard today. But if you could measure their actual effort, if you could see the truth about how much they held back, how many shortcuts they took, how many times they chose easy over excellent, you would understand why their lives never change. The uncomfortable reality is that 95% of people quit the moment they feel resistance. They stop pushing when their muscles start burning. They give up when their brain starts complaining. They retreat when success demands more than they want to give. Meanwhile, the 5% who achieve everything they want have learned a secret that sounds brutal, but works like magic. They work until their body screams, their mind rebels, and every fiber of their being begs them to stop. Then they work harder. The most successful person you know right now is not more talented than you. They are not smarter than you. They do not have better connections than you. They do not come from a better family than you. The only difference between them and you is this. They have learned to work until it hurts. And then keep working. Right now, as you listen to these words. There are two types of people in this world. The first type makes up about 95% of the population. These people work until they feel uncomfortable. Then they stop. They push until they feel resistance. Then they retreat. They try until they encounter difficulty. Then they quit. They are living what I call the comfort zone life. And they wonder why their results never change. The second type makes up the remaining 5%. These people have made a different choice. They work until it hurts, and then they work some more. They understand that pain is not their enemy. Pain is their teacher. Pain is their guide to break through. Pain is the signal that they are growing beyond who they used to be. Let me tell you something that will change your life forever. Every single achievement worth having in this world exists on the other side of discomfort. Every promotion you want, every relationship you desire, every financial goal you have set, every dream you carry in your heart, all of it lives beyond the wall of resistance that most people refuse to climb. Your comfort zone is not your friend. Your comfort zone is a beautiful prison. It feels safe, it feels familiar, but it is slowly killing your potential. Inside your comfort zone, you experience the same thoughts, the same emotions, the same results day after day, year after year. Inside your comfort zone, you are not growing. You are dying. The human body gives us a perfect example of this principle. When you go to the gym and lift weights, what happens? Your muscles hurt. They burn. They scream at you to stop. But what is really happening in that moment of discomfort? Your muscle fibers are literally tearing apart at the microscopic level. And then, during your rest period, your body repairs those tears and makes the muscle stronger than it was before. This is not a mistake. This is not an accident. This is how growth works. Pain breaks you down so you can be built back up at a higher level. The discomfort you feel is not a signal to retreat. It is a signal that transformation is happening. Think about the greatest athletes in history. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. He could have accepted that rejection. He could have stayed comfortable. Instead, he used that pain as fuel. He worked until his hands bled. He practiced until his legs gave out. He pushed beyond what his body wanted to do, again and again and again. That willingness to work through pain is what separated him from every other basketball player who had talent but lacked commitment. Consider the entrepreneurs who built the companies that changed the world. They did not succeed because they avoided difficulties. They succeeded because they ran toward difficulties. When everyone else saw problems, they saw opportunities. When everyone else felt overwhelmed, they felt energized. They trained themselves to associate pain with progress. Here is what most people never understand. There are two kinds of pain in life. There is the pain of discipline, and there is the pain of regret. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. The pain of discipline lasts for moments, but the pain of regret lasts for years. When you choose to work until it hurts, you are choosing the pain of discipline. You are choosing temporary discomfort for permanent improvement. You are investing in your future self. Every moment of struggle today becomes a moment of strength tomorrow. But when you choose comfort over growth, when you choose easy over excellent, when you choose average over outstanding, you are choosing the pain of regret. You are choosing to look back on your life and wonder what could have been. You are choosing to live with the knowledge that you settled for less than your potential. The difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is not talent, it is not luck, it is not circumstances. The difference is their relationship with discomfort. Unsuccessful people run away from pain. Successful people run toward it. Right now, your brain is programmed to seek comfort and avoid pain. This programming served our ancestors well when they needed to survive in dangerous environments. But in today's world, this programming is holding you back. The things you need to do to succeed, making difficult phone calls, having challenging conversations, learning new skills, taking calculated risks, these things trigger your brain's alarm system, even though they are not actually dangerous. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a physical threat and an emotional challenge. When you think about doing something that scares you, your brain releases the same chemicals it would release if you were being chased by a wild animal. Your heart rate increases, your palms get sweaty, your breathing becomes shallow. Your brain is screaming at you to run away and stay safe. But here is the truth that will set you free. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is feeling the fear and taking action anyway. Courage is working until it hurts and then working some more. Courage is training yourself to move toward discomfort instead of away from it. Courage is, the moment you make this mental shift, everything changes. Instead of seeing obstacles as reasons to quit, you start seeing them as opportunities to grow. Instead of viewing challenges as problems, you start viewing them as training exercises. Instead of running from pain, you start running toward it, because you know that on the other side of that pain is the person you are meant to become. This is where your transformation begins. Your brain is working against you right now. Every time you try to push beyond your current limits, every time you attempt to work harder than you did yesterday, every time you face a challenge that makes you uncomfortable, your brain activates what scientists call the threat detection system. This system floods your body with chemicals designed to make you stop, retreat, and return to safety. But here's what the research shows us. The most successful people in every field have learned to override this system. They have trained their brains to interpret stress signals differently. Where others feel panic, they feel excitement. Where others see danger, they see opportunity. Where others experience the urge to quit, they experience the urge to push harder. Neuroscientists have discovered something remarkable about human performance. When you consistently work beyond your comfort zone, your brain begins to rewire itself. New neural pathways form. Existing connections strengthen. Your capacity for handling stress increases. Your tolerance for discomfort expands. Your ability to maintain focus under pressure grows stronger. This process is called neuroplasticity, and it proves that you are not stuck with the brain you were born with. You can literally reshape your mind through the choices you make and the actions you take. But this reshaping only happens when you work until it hurts and then keep working. Because the compound effect of this kind of consistent effort is staggering. When you push yourself 10% beyond your comfort zone today, you do not just improve by 10%. You expand your comfort zone tomorrow. What felt impossible today becomes your new starting point next week. What challenged you this week becomes routine next month. What seemed overwhelming this month becomes manageable. Malcolm Gladwell wrote about the 10,000-hour rule, but most people misunderstood his message. They thought he was saying that 10,000 hours of practice makes you an expert. That is not what the research shows. The research shows that 10,000 hours of deliberate practice makes you an expert. Deliberate practice means working at the edge of your ability. It means focusing on your weaknesses instead of your strengths. It means pushing beyond what feels comfortable. Regular practice feels good. You do things you already know how to do. You stay within your existing skill set. You avoid mistakes and failures. Deliberate practice feels terrible. You attempt things you cannot do yet. You make errors constantly. You fail repeatedly. But deliberate practice is what creates breakthrough performance. Study the greatest performers in any field, and you will find the same pattern. They do not practice until they get it right. They practice until they cannot get it wrong. They do not stop when they feel tired. They stop when they have exhausted every ounce of their capacity. They do not quit when they encounter resistance. They lean into the resistance because they know it is making them stronger. Tennis champion Serena Williams did not become the greatest female tennis player in history by playing easy opponents. She sought out the toughest competition she could find. She trained harder than anyone else was willing to train. She worked until her body screamed at her to stop. And then she worked some more. Business mogul Elon Musk did not revolutionize multiple industries by working normal hours. He regularly worked 100 hours per week during the early days of his companies. When people asked him how he could sustain that pace, he said he had trained himself to find energy in exhaustion. He had conditioned his mind to thrive under extreme pressure. Here is the critical point that separates champions from everyone else. Most people quit right before their breakthrough. They work hard for days, weeks, or months without seeing dramatic results. They feel like they are hitting a wall. They convince themselves that their approach is not working. They give up just when they're about to break through to the next level. Scientists call this the plateau effect. When you start learning any new skill or building any new habit, you see rapid improvement at first. Then you hit a plateau where progress seems to stop. This plateau is not a sign that you should quit. This plateau is a sign that your brain and body are consolidating the gains you have made. They are preparing for the next surge of growth. The people who work until it hurts understand this process. They do not expect linear progress. They expect periods of intense effort with little visible reward, followed by sudden leaps in performance. They have learned to trust the process even when they cannot see the results yet. Your brain has two modes, survival mode and growth mode. In survival mode, you conserve energy, avoid risks, and stick to familiar patterns. In growth mode, you spend energy, take calculated risks, and seek new challenges. Most people spend their entire lives in survival mode. They wonder why they never grow. The decision to work until it hurts is the decision to live in growth mode. It is the decision to trust that temporary discomfort leads to permanent improvement. It is the decision to become the person you were meant to be. The ability to work until it hurts is not a talent you are born with. It is a skill you develop. Just like building physical strength requires progressive overload in the gym, building mental toughness requires progressive overload in your daily life. You must systematically increase your capacity to handle discomfort. Start with this simple truth. Your current level of effort feels normal to you because that is what you have trained yourself to accept. The person who works 12 hours a day finds 8 hours easy. The person who runs 10 miles finds 5 miles relaxing. The person who makes 50 sales calls finds 20 calls comfortable. Your tolerance for effort expands based on what you consistently demand from yourself. Mental conditioning works exactly like physical conditioning. If you want to bench press 200 pounds, you do not start with 200 pounds on your first day. You start with the weight you can handle today, then add 5 pounds next week, then 5 more pounds the week after that. Your strength grows gradually, but it grows steadily. Apply this same principle to your work capacity. If you currently work with full focus for 2 hours at a time, push yourself to work for 2 hours and 15 minutes. When that feels comfortable, extend it to 2.5 hours when that becomes routine. Aim for 3 hours. Your ability to sustain intense effort will expand week by week. The key is learning to distinguish between two types of discomfort. There is destructive pain, which signals actual damage and requires you to stop. There is constructive pain, which signals growth and requires you to continue. A sharp pain in your knee during a run is destructive pain. The burning sensation in your lungs during a sprint is constructive pain. A panic attack during a presentation is destructive pain. Nervousness before an important phone call is constructive pain. Most people cannot tell the difference, so they treat all discomfort as a signal to retreat. Champions learn to recognize constructive pain as a friend. They understand that the voice in their head saying, "This is too hard," is not giving them accurate information. That voice is simply trying to protect them from change. Create daily practices that build your pain tolerance. Take cold showers every morning. The shock of cold water triggers the same stress response as professional challenges, but in a controlled environment. Your brain learns that discomfort is temporary and survivable. Do one thing every day that scares you. Make that phone call you have been avoiding. Have that difficult conversation. Apply for that position you think you are not ready for. The warrior mindset is not about being tough for the sake of being tough. The warrior mindset is about understanding that your comfort zone is not fixed. It can be expanded through deliberate practice. Every time you push beyond what feels easy, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you thought. Build accountability systems that force you to maintain high standards. Tell people about your goals. Set deadlines that matter. Create consequences for not following through. When you know that others are watching, when you know that your reputation is on the line, you find reserves of energy you did not know you had. Successful people have trained themselves to ask different questions when they feel like quitting. Instead of asking, "How can I make this easier?" they ask, "How can I get stronger?" Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" they ask, "What will I learn?" Instead of asking, "Why is this so hard?" they ask, "How is this making me better?" The moment you feel like giving up is the moment you are about to break through. The moment you want to quit is the moment you are growing. The moment it hurts is the moment it is working. Your pain tolerance is your power. Start building it today. When you consistently work until it hurts, something magical happens. The world begins to treat you differently. People notice your intensity. They see your commitment. They recognize that you operate at a different level than everyone else around you. This recognition opens doors that remain closed to those who choose comfort over excellence. Think about the person in your workplace who always goes the extra mile, the person who stays late when others go home, the person who volunteers for the difficult projects, the person who never complains about the workload. How do others treat this person? They respect them. They trust them with important responsibilities. They recommend them for promotions. They seek their advice when problems arise. This is not a coincidence. This is the natural result of developing a reputation for exceptional effort. When you consistently work beyond what is expected, you become the person others think of first when opportunities arise. You become the person they want on their team. You become the person they want to do business with. But the external rewards are only part of the story. The internal transformation is even more powerful when you prove to yourself that you can work through discomfort. You develop unshakable confidence. You know that whatever challenge comes your way, you have the ability to handle it. You know that whatever goal you set, you have the persistence to achieve it. This confidence shows up in every area of your life. You walk differently, you speak differently, you make decisions differently. You stop asking permission and start taking action. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start creating the conditions you need. You stop hoping for luck and start making your own luck. The compound returns of sustained high effort periods are extraordinary. When you work until it hurts for one day, you feel slightly stronger the next day. When you work until it hurts for 1 week, you notice improved focus and energy. When you work until it hurts for 1 month, you see measurable progress toward your goals. When you work until it hurts for 1 year, you become a completely different person. People who have never pushed themselves to their limits cannot understand this transformation. They see your success and assume you were lucky. They see your achievements and assume you had advantages they did not have. They see your results and assume you must have some special talent. They cannot see the hours of painful effort that created those results. Jennifer, a marketing executive I know, spent 2 years working 12-hour days to build her consulting business while keeping her full-time job. Her friends told her she was crazy. Her family worried about her health. But Jennifer understood something they did not. She knew that 2 years of extreme effort would create decades of freedom and opportunity. Today, Jennifer runs a 7-figure consulting firm. She works fewer hours than her friends who criticized her intensity. She earns more money than the family members who worried about her health. She has the freedom to travel, to spend time with people she cares about, and to pursue interests that matter to her. Her temporary sacrifice created permanent results. This is what happens when you consistently work beyond your comfort zone. You compress decades of normal progress into years of accelerated growth. You achieve in months what others achieve in years. You create in weeks what others create in months. Most importantly, you become the person who can handle success when it arrives. Many people dream of breakthrough results, but they are not prepared for the responsibilities that come with those results. When you have trained yourself to work until it hurts, you have the mental strength to manage whatever level of success you create. Your future self is watching you right now. That person is either thanking you for today's sacrifice or regretting today's comfort. Which person do you want to meet 10 years from now? The time for theory is over. The time for excuses is finished. The time for waiting for perfect conditions has ended. Right now, as you hear these words, you have a choice to make. You can continue living the way you have been living, getting the results you have been getting, or you can decide that today is the day everything changes. Here is your action plan, step by step, starting this very moment. First, you must measure your current effort level. Most people have no idea how hard they are actually working. They think they are giving their maximum effort when they are really operating at 60 or 70% of their capacity. Get brutally honest with yourself. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is your true effort level right now? Not what you tell other people, not what you tell yourself when you want to feel better. What is the real number? If you scored yourself an 8, push to 9. If you scored yourself a 7, push to 8. The goal is not to jump from 5 to 10 overnight. The goal is to consistently increase your intensity by small increments until working at maximum capacity becomes your new normal. Track your effort every single day. At the end of each day, write down your effort score. Write down what you accomplished. Write down what you could have done better. This daily measurement creates awareness, and awareness creates improvement. You cannot manage what you do not measure. Create non-negotiable standards for yourself. Decide right now what working until it hurts looks like in your specific situation. Maybe it means making 50 sales calls when you only want to make 20. Maybe it means studying for 3 hours when you only want to study for 1. Maybe it means exercising for 60 minutes when you only want to exercise for 30. Write down your standards and commit to them, regardless of how you feel. Build your accountability system immediately. Tell 3 people about your commitment to work until it hurts. Ask them to check on your progress weekly. Give them permission to call you out when you are making excuses. Most people avoid accountability because they want the option to quit when things get difficult. Champions seek accountability because they know it prevents them from quitting when they need to push through. Install daily questions that successful people ask themselves every morning. Ask, what can I do today that will push me beyond my comfort zone? Every afternoon. Ask, am I working at the level that will create the results I want? Every evening. Ask, did I give everything I had today, or did I hold something back? These questions will transform your daily behavior. Most people drift through their days without intention. These questions force you to live with purpose. They remind you that every day is an opportunity to build the life you want, or to settle for the life you have. Start building momentum through small wins. Pick one area where you will immediately increase your effort level. Maybe it is your morning routine. Maybe it is your work productivity. Maybe it is your physical fitness. Maybe it is your skill development. Focus all your energy on that one area until working at a higher intensity becomes automatic. Then expand to another area. Marcus, a real estate agent, decided to work until it hurts by doubling his daily prospecting calls. For his first week, he felt exhausted and discouraged. For his second week, he wanted to quit. By his third week, the higher call volume started feeling normal. By his second month, he was closing twice as many deals as before. By his sixth month, he had earned more than he had earned in the previous entire year. The key to Marcus's success was not talent or luck. The key was his willingness to push through the initial discomfort until his new standard became his natural operating level. He worked until it hurt, and then he kept working until it stopped hurting. Prepare for the moments when you want to quit. They will come. You will have days when you feel like giving up. You will have weeks when you question whether this approach is working. You will have moments when you think about returning to your old comfort zone. This is normal. This is expected. This is when champions are made. Write yourself a letter right now. Write it to the person you will be 6 months from today when you are feeling discouraged and want to quit. Remind that future version of yourself why you started this process. Remind them of the goals you are working toward. Remind them that temporary discomfort creates permanent results. Seal this letter and save it for the day you need it most. Your commitment ritual starts now. Stand up right now if you are able. Say these words out loud. I commit to working until it hurts. I commit to pushing beyond my comfort zone every single day. I commit to becoming the person I was meant to be, regardless of how difficult the process becomes. This is not just a statement, this is a promise you are making to yourself. This is the moment your transformation begins. This is the day you stop being average and start becoming exceptional. Tomorrow morning, when your alarm goes off, you will have the first test of your commitment. You can hit the snooze button and stay comfortable, or you can get up immediately and start building the discipline that will change your life. That choice will set the tone for every choice you make after that. The person you become through this process will be worth every moment of discomfort you endure. The life you create through this effort will justify every sacrifice you make. The results you achieve through this commitment will exceed every expectation you have. Work until it hurts, then work some more. Your future depends on it. Your dreams are counting on it. The person you were meant to become is waiting for it. The time is now. Begin today.